I got too many.
Hey, this is PH and welcome to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to answer common questions about the Bible in a fun and creative way. I hope these videos will be helpful in your own spiritual journey in Jesus. Let's get started. Who is Haggai the prophet? When the first group of Israelites returned from the exile to the Promised Land, they faced a great challenge of rebuilding a nation that had fallen into disrepair for 70 years. And at the same time, they were facing an external threat from the surrounding enemies. And it is during this time that God raised up a prophet, Haggai, to bring a message of hope. In Ezra chapter 3, when the Israelites had finished the foundation of the temple, the priests with trumpets and cymbals sang to the Lord, "He is good, and his love to Israel endures forever." And all the people gave a great shout of praise to the Lord. But many of the older family heads who had seen the former temple wept aloud when they saw the foundation. The elders yearned for a temple like Solomon's, a temple that once was the envy of the world, that was overlaid with solid gold and precious stones. And this temple was a mere shadow of the former glory. As resistance and opposition grew from both the local people and Persia, one by one, the people began to return to their own homes, and by the 8th day of the 3rd month, work on the temple had completely ceased. And for 18 years the temple lay in ruins, with the people saying, "Perhaps it is not time for the Lord's house to be rebuilt." On the 1st day of the 6th month, the month of Elul, God sent the prophet Haggai to Jerusalem. Through Haggai, God brought 4 messages to the people. The first message was a stinging message of rebuke. "Hear, O Israel, how can you live in your own paneled houses while the temple of the Lord remains in ruins?" Haggai went on to say that the reason the land had not prospered is because the people spent all their time and resources beautifying their own homes instead of building the house of the Lord. The people immediately humbled themselves before the Lord and returned to the work of rebuilding the temple. In response, Haggai brought 2 subsequent messages of great hope to the people. In the first, God promised that though physically the temple was a remnant of its former glory, spiritually, God would shake the heavens and fill the temple with an even greater glory than before. In the second message, God reminded the people that the temple would not be the primary locus of the service of the Lord. More importantly, God was calling his people to be holy unto the Lord, to be set apart to serve him, and to call the nations to the Lord. In Haggai's final message, he brought all of his exhortations and encouragements into a singular climactic event, the coming of the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. He said, "I am about to shake the heavens and the earth and overthrow the kingdoms of this world. And I will take you, my servant Zerubbabel, and I will make you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you, declared the Lord of hosts." This message was not only a personal encouragement to Zerubbabel, the governor and spiritual leader of the returnees. It was a promise that through the line of Zerubbabel, the line of David, God would eventually bring his chosen servant, Jesus. And Jesus indeed would bring about a peace that would last forever. What can we learn from the prophet Haggai? In his final message, God said to Zerubbabel, "I will make you like my signet ring." 75 years earlier, in Jeremiah 22, God said to Jehoiakim, the last king of Israel, "Even if you were a signet ring on my right hand, I would pull you off." It was because of Jehoiakim's rebellion and idolatry that the nation was taken into captivity. And now, 70 years later, God says to Zerubbabel, "You will be like my signet ring that I will wear on my right hand, and through you will come the birth of Jesus, the greatest expression of God's mercy and grace." When the Israelites first returned to a desolate land, they had every reason to believe that they had no future after generations of disobedience and idolatry. And yet through Haggai, God brought an irresistible message of hope, not just to the nation of Israel, but to the world, saying, "I promise you that the renewal of all things is coming, and it will begin in the birth of my son, Jesus." Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.